Good morning. Please rise in body and or spirit and join in singing the hymn, We Have Gathered, 360. My name is Dennis, and I'm honored to be your worship associate for the service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County, better known as UUFCC. Each week we gather together by singing an invitation, even as we're scattered in many places, and whether our sacred space be virtual or live. Whatever your faith, or the country of your heritage, you are welcome here. Whoever you are and whomever you love, you are welcome here. And whether you entered on little feet or walked in briskly or ambled or rolled in, you are welcome here. Whether you are relatively new to our community or have been an active member for decades, you are welcome here. Now I'd like to mention a few items that will help this service run smoothly. We are being broadcast on YouTube and will be available as a recording on the UUFCC YouTube channel after the service. Consequently, for privacy concerns, it is our practice to use first names and, when necessary, last initials. This is a very good time to put your phones in meditation mode. And for those with us virtually, you may wish to have a chalice or candle available for our chalice lighting ritual. Finally, I'm thankful for all the dedicated people who made this service and community possible. Thank you to the technicians, to our pianist Ryan, to the choir and Janet, and for the social team that provides the snacks after the service and the greeters, and for all those that keep this place going. If you are new here or returning from some time away, would you please stand or raise your hand and state your first name and where you're from so we can welcome you. Doug will come around with the mic so that everyone can hear. If you have not already, please take the opportunity to meet with one of our members or friends following the service. Is there anyone here for a first time or a long returning member or friend? Okay. If you're new and you're at home, if you'd like to learn more about our fellowship, you can email Anna at office@uufcc.org or visit our website. And wherever you are, we're glad you have chosen to spend your time with us this morning. And now Brian will play the prelude. Thank you, Ryan. We will now open this sacred space by turning our attention to the chalice through the words of Andrea Hawkins Camper. Blessed are we, the chalice lighters of resistance, justice, love, and faith. Blessed are we, the heretics, the outcasts, the walkers of our own way. Blessed are we, the border crossers, the refugees, the immigrants, the poor, the wanderers. Blessed are we for this, our beloved community, and this, who we are. And now, while Betty is lighting our chalice, here in the sanctuary, and for those of you at home, you may light your chalices. Please join me in reciting our affirmation, which is in the order of service. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our aspiration, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Our opening words are by Reverend Michelle LaGrave, and it's entitled, We Gather Together. We arrive as individuals, as couples, as families, as neighbors, as friends. We got here by walking, by biking, by riding, by driving, by connecting. We bring with us our joys and our sorrows, our laughter and our tears, our worries and our fears, our questions and our beliefs, our ethics and our values. Some of us arrived early this morning or joined us 10 minutes ago or encountered obstacles on their way or will arrive just in time for the sermon or will sign on later this week or even next month. We are sitting in chairs, leaning on walkers or canes, stretching in the aisles, settling in wheelchairs, and relaxing in recliners. We, members, friends, and visitors alike, come from many paths and join together as one congregation to lift up our highest ideals. We have gathered, now let us worship. Please rise in body or in spirit and sing hymn number 134, Our World is One World.
Watch us round about, the clouds that come
We have a long tradition at UUFCC of sharing our joys, sorrows, and life milestones by entering them into the Red Book or the Book of Life. These messages can be written in the Red Book, which lives in the back of the sanctuary. And thank you. And that those that are at home are welcome to email your entries to bookoflife@uufcc.org by Saturday. We also embrace the tradition of dropping stones in the bowl. The water symbolizes the community, and the stones represent your joys or sorrows. I will first read the entries in the Book of Life. This is a difficult one. It is with great sadness that I share the passing of Bill Howlett, Sr. He is survived by his wife Valerie and son Fossil Bill. Bill Sr. and his wife Valerie were members here until moving to northern Florida. Bill was on the caring committee and spent many hours in hospital visits. His wife Valerie was in the choir. Son Fossil Bill still joins us from time to time. We don't get to pick our parents, and my bio father was not a good person. I was married with kids of my own when my mother married my stepfather, Fritz. He passed away on May 16th. And while I am grieving, I am grateful for the 40+ years I got to call him Dad. I took every opportunity to tell him if my mom hadn't picked him as her husband, I would have still picked him as my father. He was the kindest man I've ever known and treated everyone with respect. We started losing bits of him 2 years ago when he was diagnosed with dementia. I am comforted knowing he is no longer struggling and suffering. And this is from Janet. Finally, many thanks to Susie B. and Vic for their very generous donation of a car to our Kappas family. It will make such a difference. And now I invite you to come forward and drop a stone, either in silence or share briefly aloud. There will be time for announcements later in the service.
We are just getting to know y'all and are just thrilled that you are here. And we will miss you. We are going to take off and go back up north to be closer to the kids and see friends we've known for 30 years. And we will be back. And so thank you for your friendship and your just welcoming us so much. And for those of you who have not met us, I'm Pat. This is Judy.
And I would just add to what Pat said, amen.
can be the not-so-merry month of May at times. My father died in May at age 40 when I was a little girl, don't even remember him. My sister died in May, she was 30. My mother died in May, she was 80. My brother died in May, he was 60. Yesterday morning, my husband called me sobbing and said that his sister had just died. She was 87, long, good life, but it's the first sibling he has lost. There are many losses in the month of May. Each person's death diminishes me. This is for all those beloveds, be it May or any other time of the year.
This week, Ryan's niece, Aubrey, who is 15, had her baby, who is a healthy, I believe about 8.5-pound boy. And of course, we're extremely worried about the whole process going forward. But I'm glad that everything ended out okay and that mom and baby are safe.
I'm honored to be leaving Thursday for a gathering of my family, especially my children and grandchildren, for my 80th birthday, which was all organized by my loving husband.
I'm dropping a stone concerning of my partner Michael. His mother passed last year, and we're trying to sell her mobile home in Venice. It is causing him so much anxiety, even panic attacks. We had a buyer, and her credit is not good. She's a dear, wonderful lady. So I'm just worried about him. He's although somebody might buy it and tear it down and put a double wide, which was fine. We're hoping just any price to relieve him is fine. So he's my biggest concern.
And now as Jackie drops the last stone, which represents the unspoken joys and sorrows in our hearts, may we hold these and each other in love and tenderness, so that this fellowship may be a source of strength and comfort, courage and hope in the days and the weeks ahead. Let us take a few moments of silence. Amen. And now I have the honor of introducing my longtime friend and longtime member, Joseph Fenty.
Good morning, everyone. So nice to see you. I appreciate you being here today. I'm delighted to talk to you today about pluralism. I am an advocate of pluralism because I appreciate being part of an organization that sees my racial, ethnic background and life stance as assets rather than liabilities. I am multiracial and multi-ethnic. My gene report from the Cellular Research Institute indicates that I'm 63.9% European, of the English, German, Spanish, French, and Scandinavian variety. I am 19.9% African from Sierra Leone and Nigeria. And I am 16.2% Southeast Asian from Bengali and Sri Lanka. How many of you have done these tests? Quite a few of you. I present as a unique collection of races. Sometimes it precipitates confusion and discomfort for people who consider themselves white, black, or Hispanic. Both white and black people want to know who I am because they want to know if they can trust me. And people want to know if they can be their authentic selves around me. I often don't self-identify right away because I enjoy the cognitive dissonance that my presence evokes. I once had a professor apologize to me for making racist statements. He said he didn't know, and he wouldn't have made the racist statements if he knew me, if he knew what I was. In the areas of my life stance, I am a deconstructed Christian from a high control religion. I am an agnostic atheist and secular humanist. As an agnostic atheist, I am not accepted in public spaces. For example, if I wanted to run for public office in Florida, both my multiracial background and life stance would be seen as liabilities. But in UU spaces, my life stance carries no meaningful philosophical baggage, most of the time. Many UUs accept my identity and don't see it as a liability. The Unitarian Universalist Association has elevated pluralism as an ideal for all members that seek to foster it in their communities. You might have seen a graphic image of the shared flowers value or the shared values flower. Have you seen it before? Love is in the middle of this flower, and around it you have the petals of interdependence, equity, transformation, justice, generosity, and pluralism. Today we will talk about pluralism as an ideal state in UU communities. Pluralism is the recognition and acceptance of diversity within a society. It holds immense benefits across various domains. But what do we mean by pluralism? Well, according to the website www.thoughtco.com, political pluralism, is a political philosophy that recognizes and affirms diversity within a political body. It holds that people of different beliefs, backgrounds, and lifestyles can coexist in the same society and participate equally in the political process. Pluralism assumes that its practice will lead decision makers to negotiate decisions that contribute to the common good of the entire society. For example, an example of this would be the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 in the United States. This legislation led to significant achievements in pluralism. These laws were aimed at protecting the rights of minority groups and to promote equality. According to yourdictionary.com, pluralism refers to a society or system of government or organizations that has different groups keep their identity while existing with other groups in a more dominant group, rather than just one group or subgroup or culture dictating how things go. Pluralism recognizes a larger number of competing interests that share power. Pluralism serves as a model of democracy where different groups can voice their opinions and ideas. What about pluralism among you? What kind of attributes do you have that are different than the dominant group that you think and are wonderful and that you cherish? Just shout some things out.
I'm gay.
Dennis says he's gay. Lesbian. Anyone else?
We are all one.
He's left-handed. What are your gifts? Anyone? Liberal. Okay, we are diverse people with many different attributes, and we want those attributes respected when it comes to governance, communication, respect, and dignity. It's no surprise that America is composed of very different and diverse populations. According to the Gallup poll, 68% of Americans identify as Christian, while 7% identify as non-Christian. And the largest groups to be expected are Protestants at 33%, Catholics at 22%, and other religions at 13%. Among the non-Christian groups, only 2% are Jewish, 1% Muslim, and 1% are Buddhists. We also have a tremendous racial, ethnic variety in this country. While whites compose 57.8% of the population, Latinos or Hispanics compose 18.7%, and blacks who are non-Hispanic compose 12%. So we have a very diverse population, both religiously and racial and ethnically. What about pluralism at UUFCC? Well, according to the 2018 survey, 90% of the respondents identified as white, 3% black, and 3% Hispanic, 3% other, and 1% Native American. A plurality of respondents at the time had a master's degree or higher. And when they were asked to identify the theological or religious understanding, 70% said they were UUs. And if you combine the agnostics and atheists, they were actually 45%. So examples of pluralism. You can look at the Democratic Party and you can see pluralism. They're composed of different wings, liberal, progressive, moderate factions. And they have different ideas about legislation, but nevertheless they work together to serve the best interests of the American people. There are examples in fiction that are very interesting and good examples of pluralism. Ryan wrote me recently and talked about Star Trek, Roddenberry's creation. And just think about the crew on the Enterprise. You had a Russian, a Japanese, Scottish, first African American in a major production, a series, Lieutenant Uhura. You had people who, and then you had, of course, non-human species in the form of Spock. And this was revolutionary at the time, and they brought together all kinds of people to solve problems. And they had great respect, even though they had heated arguments. Think about the arguments between Spock and Scotty. They were classic, or the Doctor. They were classic arguments, but nevertheless, they were working for a united purpose. So I'm going to give you some examples of pluralism and how effective it is. Pluralism is often associated with social progress, innovation, peaceful conflict resolution, tolerance, empathy, and respect for human rights. Throughout history, societies that embrace pluralism flourish economically, socially, and culturally. For instance, ancient civilizations in Egypt, Persia, and the Indus Valley civilization prospered due to their openness to diverse cultures, languages, and religions. Pluralist societies have been at the forefront of social progress, justice movements. Consider the civil rights movement in the United States as a powerful example, where diverse groups came together to fight against racial discrimination and inequality. pluralistic societies have been hubs of innovation and intellectual exchange. Consider the Renaissance in Europe, for example. It saw a flourishing of ideas and arts as different cultures and perspectives intersected. For example, the Golden Age of Islam saw advances in science, medicine, philosophy that were fueled by various cultures, religions, and ethnicities. History shows that societies that adopt pluralistic values tend to experience less intergroup conflict. By respecting and accommodating diverse beliefs and practices, communities can navigate differences peacefully, reducing the likelihood of violence and fostering social cohesion. Philosophically, pluralism aligns with the principles of epistemological humility. The recognition that no single perspective can fully capture the complexity of truth. Embracing pluralism acknowledges the limitations of our own understanding and invites us to engage diverse points of view to enrich our understanding of the world. Pluralism is grounded in ethical principles such as tolerance, empathy, and respect for human dignity. By recognizing the inherent worth of each individual and their right to express their beliefs and identities, pluralism promotes a more just and inclusive society. This approach promotes a more inclusive and compassionate society where individuals can coexist peacefully despite their differences in values and principles. Philosophers like John Stuart Mills have argued that exposure to diverse ideas is essential for intellectual growth and development of critical thinking skills. Pluralistic environments encourage debate, questioning, exploration, and it leads to a more vibrant and dynamic intellectual landscape. Many religious traditions have advocated for tolerance and acceptance of diversity as core values. For example, Christianity teaches the importance of loving one's neighbor regardless of differences, while Islam emphasizes the concept of ummah, or community, which encompasses believers from diverse backgrounds. Historic examples include the Edict of Milan in 313 AD, which granted religious tolerance to Christians in the Roman Empire. A Wikipedia entry under the title Freedom of Religion has this to say: King John Sigmund of Transylvania in the mid-1500s is considered to have been a tolerant and kind and enlightened monarch. In 1568, the Diet of Torda proclaimed that the four religions of Catholicism, Lutheranism, Calvinism, and Unitarianism could be practiced and tolerated, allowing individuals to choose their own religion. 10 years after the first law, in 1568, the chairman of the King of Hungary and the Prince of Transylvania followed the edict of the founder of the Unitarian Church of Transylvania, extended freedom to all religions, declaring that it is not allowed to anybody to intimidate anyone with captivity or expelling for his religion. Thanks to the Edict of Torda, from the last centuries of the 18th century, Transylvania was the only place in Europe where so many religions could live together in harmony without persecution. Can you imagine universalism having such an impact so long ago? Pluralism encourages interfaith dialogue and cooperation, and it fosters mutual understanding and collaboration among many different religious groups. From a religious perspective, pluralism can be seen as a moral imperative rooted in the belief of inherent worth and dignity of all humans as creations of the divine. Embracing pluralism reflects a commitment to honoring the sacredness of life and promoting harmony and cooperation among all people. Pluralism encourages expression and inclusion of many voices in order to promote democracy. It suggests that those with different beliefs, backgrounds, and lifestyles can coexist in the same society and participate in the political process. Pluralistic societies enable dialogue. They inculcate the spirit of tolerance and enable the making of worthwhile projects. These arguments for pluralism draw from Gandhi's idea of how human beings should relate to one another who are not like them, and to establish a case for pluralism. Pluralism is not just desirable, it is vital to security, peace, and prosperity for future generations. But what are the limitations of pluralism? Well, pluralism without limits can endanger tolerance. Consider when a society tolerates the intolerable. The paradox of tolerance states that if a society practices of tolerance is inclusive of intolerance, intolerance will ultimately dominate and eliminate the tolerant and the practice of toleration with them. That's a mouthful. In The Open Society and Its Enemies, Popper, who is a famous philosopher, states that the unlimited tolerance must lead to the disappearance of tolerance. We must therefore claim in the name of tolerance the right to be not tolerant of intolerance. Does that make sense? Many politicians have made comments about pluralism, as it is a topic often discussed in political discourse, especially in democratic societies that value diversity and inclusion. One notable example is Barack Obama, the 44th President of the United States. Through his presidency and beyond, Obama frequently spoke about the importance of pluralism and the strengths that come from embracing diversity. Here are some quotes. Quote, "We may have different stories, but we hold common hopes. We may not look the same, and we may not have come from the same place, but we all want to move in the same direction, towards a better future for our children and our grandchildren." Another quote, "Our strength comes from our diversity. We are a people of every race and faith, drawn from every part of the globe. We need to reject any politics that target people because of race or religion. That isn't a matter of political correctness. It's a matter of understanding what makes us strong." Powerful, powerful statements. These quotes illustrate Obama's commitment to pluralism and his belief in the importance of embracing diversity as a source of strength and resilience in our society. Today, as social and economic anxiety in the white population increases, so has the opposition to pluralism in the form of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. According to the Washington Post, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill into law to defund programs that promote diversity in higher education at state colleges and limit how race can be discussed in many courses. Florida's new laws join legislation in 19 other states where lawmakers have targeted diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. The backlash against pluralism continues, and it is a threat to our society. Personally, pluralism is a precondition of my participation in any religious or political organization. It embodies the principle of human worth and dignity. It is difficult to practice, but it is necessary to maintain and to encourage, to ensure the conditions under which human beings can flourish. In conclusion, the benefits of pluralism are manifold, spanning historical, philosophical, and religious dimensions. By embracing diversity, respecting differences, and fostering dialogue and cooperation, pluralistic societies can create environments that promote social progress, intellectual growth, and enrichment for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Now please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing the hymn number 1023. It's in the teal hymnal. We're going to sing this 3 times. The first time, we'll all sing it in unison. And then the second time, I think, Dorothy, you'll start this side. The second time, we're going to do it as a round.
Twice as a round.
Twice as a round. And then the third time here. Okay? All right. So please, let us sing together hymn number 1023.
Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
In our tradition, congregations exist because of the generous support of members and friends. It is our privilege and our responsibility to ensure the health and future of the fellowship. To this end, your offering supports our ministry, whether by pledge or donation, and may be offered online. There are several ways you can give. You can drop your donation in the basket that's coming now. You can mail checks to the office, drop them in our mailbox, or call the office to make other arrangements. We are also equipped to accept donations through the Venmo app. Payments through this app should be made to UUFCC offering. Your generosity is always appreciated. And if you're with us for the first time, do not feel obligated to give. Your presence is our gift. Now it's time to highlight UUFCC special events and activities. Please remember to check your weekly update. It includes a calendar and links for connecting via Zoom or in person, and descriptions of all kinds of fun and worthwhile things coming up. If you aren't getting the updates, please make sure that you fill out the form at the welcome desk. Also, make sure that you regularly visit our constantly updated website, thanks to our web weavers, Laura L. and Laura A. Additionally, if you would like to have fellowship events highlighted during the service, you can email bookoflife@uufcc.org. Today I have the following announcements. First, following the service, please join us for coffee and birthday cake for all the May birthdays. Of course, social distancing is recommended. This is from the Art Committee, and we are proud to announce that 2 artists from the Artisan Atelier in Punta Gorda, Susan Samus Goldson and Peter Carey, are in this exhibit. A reception will be held at 4 p.m. on next Friday, the 24th. Please come and make our artists feel welcome. As already mentioned, Joys and Concerns, the Kappas family is doing beautifully. We want to especially thank Susie and Vic for donating the car that will be used as a trade-in for their new car. We would also like to thank all the volunteer drivers that provided transportation to the campus family for months. Our campus mother is actively seeking a job, and thank you for those that provided recommendations. It does take a village. Thank you for all of your support. Now, the last announcement I have is one that you will like to hear. So far, we have no new cases of COVID. So if things continue as they are, next week you can leave the masks at home. Finally, this is a message from Reverend Ann Barker. She is, in addition to speaking to us once a month, the first Sunday in the month, she is offering pastoral care. And so she needs to know if people are ill or in the hospital or struggling with other life difficulties. The ways to get in touch with her, you can either call the office for that or go to your updates. Her phone number and email are in there. Don't forget the weekly updates. Our closing words are called Arms Outstretched Singing. It was written by Teresa Youngblood. May you be invited to the party. May you be asked to dance. May you be amazed to learn that your own precious heart already knows and leaps to the song. And in this moment, whirling in the expansive affirmation of all creation, an embodiment of the divine's boundless love, you may turn and face the door, arms outstretched to sing in wide welcome the ever-changing song of togetherness to those who have yet to discover that they too belong here. And now, as Dorothy extinguishes the chalice, the fire of commitment. Now we extinguish this chalice. and the ones at home, but not the light of hope, the flower of commitment, or the warmth of community. And now, please, thank you. And now please join us for our last hymn, number 318, We Would Be One.
We would be one, as now we join in singing our hymn of love, to pledge ourselves anew to thy cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other, to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service, with love and justice strive to make us free.
Thank you. And now, don't forget to turn your phones back on and come eat birthday cake.